join us for this month's Reincarnation Book Club. And I hope, I know some of you have had a chance to read ELAINE Hodge's book, and I devoured it. I read it really fast. And so it is Past Lives, Present Problems. And as you know, sometimes we can't always figure out what the source of a present problem is. And so Elaine's going to give us an inkling into what a possible cause could be. And I'm just really delighted to have her here. She's been in the past life regression field for quite some time, in psychotherapy even longer. And what I'd like for you to do to start out with, Elaine, is tell us about how you discovered this.
Oh, discovered past life regression work?
Yes.
Okay. Well, do a little history here, I guess. I was raised Catholic, very Catholic, and when I moved away from the Catholicism and organized religion, I was sort of lost because I was used to having, a whole format of religion in my life. And I moved to an area where it was beautiful. There was a great lake there, and I would just go down and sit by the lake and just wait for my spirit to come to me or have some kind of connection. And through that process, I went through some challenges, and people had talked about this woman named Alice. She was like 50 miles away in another town. And I just decided one day to go see her. And so I went to see her and found out, I knew she did some kind of spiritual work, but I didn't know what it was. And so I went to see her, and she would have you come for 6 days. And that was sort of overwhelming to me, the thought of going to somebody for 6 days and working with them, but I decided I'd do it. And then she introduced the whole concept of reincarnation and past lives, and a whole format of her teaching, rebirthing, life choice. There's different aspects of her teachings. And she led me through 6 days of intensive work. And even though at that time I did not believe in reincarnation, it was a foreign concept to me, being raised Catholic. But I realized how much I benefited from her work. And so I ended up studying with her for 7 years. And she taught me how to do past life regression therapy and other work. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And what I have put together over the years is a type of therapy called inner therapy. And inner therapy, basically, by the way, I'm a transpersonal psychologist in private practice in Prescott, Arizona. I also work online with people. And
Elaine,
transpersonal, what?
Can you hold on just 1 second? Can everyone else mute your microphones? We're getting a little static there. Thank you so much. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So as I was saying, I'm a transpersonal psychologist, which means looking at the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. And so I incorporated my inner therapy into my practice. And I started doing past life regression therapy and other parts of inner therapy. And I've been doing that for over 40 years. So I've done a lot of individual regressions, hundreds, and some group regressions, which we hope to be able to do today, so everyone can have an experience. And so that's how I got into this. And I think that was your question, right?
Yes, yes. And so tell us a little bit more about the symbols exercise that we're going to do. Help us understand what we're going to do and prepare us, set us up for doing that experience.
Okay. Well, symbols come from one place is Jungian therapy, analytical therapy that I have studied. And Carl Jung, one of his quotes is that we are so captivated and entangled in our subjective consciousness that we have forgotten the age-old fact that God speaks chiefly through dreams and visions and symbols. And so part of what inner therapy and the work that I do to get people into regressions is take them out of what I would call the left brain. You know, we have two hemispheres of the brain, the left and the right. And the left is usually considered the logical thinking, practical side. And the right brain is the more free-flowing, analytical, fantasy, we can say spiritual side. And Jung talks about different archetypes. Actually, he has 4 main archetypes, and 2 of those are the anima and the animus. And the anima is the soul or the spirit part of us. Again, that can be that's the right side. It can be the feminine, intuitive, imaginative, creative, spiritual side. And Jung believed that our spirit is a psychological reality that can be described and we can experience it. So part of my work is teaching people how to go inward to their right brain, which means that we have to turn off, so to speak, our left brain, which is where most of us operate throughout the day, and let go of the logical mind that has to make sense out of everything, which I will say today, if you can do that in this time together, if you can, when you do their symbols, when we do the past life, to let yourself be free-flowing and not analyze what's coming up, but just accept and let things come in that come in. Because if you can do that, it's going to be coming more from your right brain, which is the side that takes us deeper into our inner self, our inner wisdom, our spirit.
Will you repeat that, please?
The last part?
Yes, if you go into your right brain.
And when we're in our right brain, we're more into our inner self. Okay, we're more inward into our, we can call it maybe super consciousness, but it's the inner self, which leads to deeper wisdom and truth, our spirit. So we're touching into our spiritual self where we have all wisdom. And we also, in our spirit self, we have past life memories. And now there's different theories about what we're doing when we do I don't know how interested everybody is in all this, so I'll share a little and then stop. But there's different theories about what goes on when you access a past life. And I'll just kind of go over those quickly. The first is that some people say it's just my imagination. I'm making this life up. Well, that's okay. As far as me as a therapist, I would say that's okay. Let your imagination run. So some people think it's just their imagination, that they're making up a story, but whatever story is coming in is going to be helpful. So trust the process is what I would say. Another theory is that we have cellular memory. And that means that in our current DNA, we can access memories of the past lives that we've had through our ancestors, through our cellular memory. And then there's the Akashic records, which people, some spiritual ways believe that stores all the information that's ever happened on the universe. And then the final explanation is that we have lived before, reincarnation is true, and we are accessing actual past lives. So it doesn't make any difference how you're viewing this work today, or past life therapy. It's extremely, and this is why I wrote the book, it's extremely therapeutically helpful. It really helps people look at their life issues and where there might be some blocks. It could be around people, it could be around situations, it could be in any area. I've worked with, and if you've read my book, you know that I've worked with many different types of issues. Eating disorders, fears, anxiety, phobias, fear of death, oh my gosh, relationship issues, just whatever, a whole series of different life problems.
One of the cases that you talked about in your book, and this topic has been coming up a lot for myself and some other practitioners, and also people in my workshops, about life on a different planet. And could you talk a little bit about you had someone who remembered Zentor?
Yeah. Yes, life on Zentor. Let's see. I don't have the notes right in front of me, but anyway, yes, I had a woman that went to a life on it. It was a group regression that I conducted in person. And I lost you, Carol. I just see a telephone on my screen. Okay, I'll go on.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
your bandwidth.
Oh, hope I don't lose you. I live off the grid.
Yeah, I hope we
always
don't.
have the best. If you do, just bring me back. I'll come back on. Okay. So forgot what we were talking about.
Zentor.
Oh, Zentor. Okay. Yeah. So this woman went through life on a planet called Zentor, and it was a very interesting regression. It caught me off guard. I'm going to try to find it here just a second in my book. Let's see, life on a different planet, 85. I don't know how many people on our screens today have read my book, but I don't know, Carol, maybe it would be helpful for me just to go over this woman's regression. I think I'm going to do that. So she caught me off guard because I didn't expect a client to go to
Hold on, Elaine. I think you hit that button that stopped your video.
Oh, start video. Okay, you're right. Don't mess around with the computer board or anything around it. Okay, I'm back. So anyway, I was very surprised, and I didn't do her regression as a regular regression because I was just more interested in asking questions. So this is the dialogue between the two of us. J is for Janice, the woman, and TH is for me, the therapist. Okay. I start by asking her to go to a past life and describe what she looks like. And she says, purple color with white hair. What is your name? Azarian. What do you do? I organize and keep the wheel of balance within our planet and others so we can seek nourishment from them. Elaine, what is life like on your planet? Janice, there is much light. People are sure of themselves, no doubts. They know exactly what they are doing. I know my place as well. What do you call your planet? Zentor. It is not in your universe, but beyond your universe. One day you will know about it. Important for your people to know there are other universes, never-ending infinity. When your scientists are receiving, they are receiving beyond knowledge they have. Many wish the earth would wake up and become an adult. Yes. Therapist. Will we be able to travel there, Janice, within your mind, out-of-body experience? Guide yourself to where you want to go. You can guide yourself to my home where you can learn. We never know sickness and always see good. You might say we do not know bad. We learned this from the very beginning. Most people on earth cannot love themselves. We are important here. We have work and a purpose, and we love ourselves. Not too many people on earth can say that. We sleep on air. If you come to visit us, I will teach you. Therapists, do you come to our planet? Yes, now I can teach you. Come to my place with me. Some things here you cannot do in your earth bodies. Learn to direct your out-of-body experiences. I was embodied on earth at one time. Earth is a school as well as where I am, but we are more advanced. One day you will be here and we will know each other. There is no death here, but there is change. Look beyond what you think of as death. I am happy where I am. Come visit me and learn. Is it easier to travel there while sleeping? I'm going to skip that part. Has everyone there been a body on earth? Yes, many, many times. Let go of earth school lessons. I coordinate trips to different places to gather mind information. Is this the last level? I asked that. No, there are some more advanced. We know each other as male and female, but we have more of the opposite sex with us. The next level has more, and beyond there is total balance. Don't look at angels as male or female. They are very graduated and should only be called by name. Therapist, are you in light bodies? Janice, we are very much light. We have the ability to slowly give light to another and give it back. And this is our ultimate sharing. Come visit me and you will see. There are no wars here, only appreciation around us. We see only beauty and we enjoy every moment of it. We are creating circular energy within us. How many can close their eyes and see beauty in purple? Nourish the thoughts we have talked about. Nourish your thoughts. Talk to them. They are creations. Think about what they will be doing to yourself and others. So that was basically her regression. I asked her what she learned from that. And she said that it was very comforting to know that there's life on other planets for her, and that, this is not the only place. And it gave her proof of that because she went to the life there. And she said also that, the message that we need to balance our lives and be positive, love ourselves and serve others, and that there's no death there. So she received a lot from it. And it was very interesting for me because I had never experienced a life on another planet. I also experienced one time some animal lives, which was interesting. I don't know, do people want to hear about those?
That's a great question, because in some cultures, they believe that you can go into an animal or a human metasymptosis. Other cultures believe that once you embody as a human, that you stay as a human. And I've even read that some people believe that even though that's the case, that you stay a human, that you might visit an animal's body just to have that experience. So from
Yes.
that experience that you're talking about, what's your take?
Well, the regressions I did took people back to lives as an animal. So my teacher, Alice, believed in, evolution, that we evolved through the lower life forms to the animals, and that horses and dogs are very high animals. And she believed that if you truly love your pet and they experience human love, then they can choose to come back as a human the next time. So I've always loved my dogs and my cats, because I tend to believe that. And so, but I don't know about going backwards. I've thought about this backwards. I shouldn't really say it that way, but going to an animal life. But I've heard that some people who die very angry can be reincarnated as like a black crow, but I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, it's all speculation. But
Right.
I tend to believe in evolution, that we evolve up through the different species, and that humans are unique in our level of being able to make contact with source, spirit.
Now I want to open up for others that might have questions. Also, I don't want to hog all the questions. So if anyone has a question, just raise your hand and open your mic, and we'll entertain your question. Does anybody have a comment about the animal thing?
Carol, I
There's
think
some woman with her
Alexis has a
hand up.
question.
Okay, Smita has started, and then we'll come to Alexis.
Well, no, I was just going to say that Alexis has a question. Her hand is up.
Oh, okay.
I'm just assisting you.
Okay, thank you. Where'd you go, Alexis?
I'm right here.
Yeah.
Thank you for assisting everybody. Elaine, I have a question about the client that went to the other planet, or the other solar system. In the stages of evolution where you do the animals and then you have human existence, and then once you've done enough human existence and go into these other light being states, I guess in my mind, I've only been doing past life regression for a year, but I would think that you wouldn't have to come back as a human again. What's your take on that? If she's already progressed to this light being phase, can she keep coming back and have more human experiences and then go back to that stage? Or what have you found?
That's a great question. There's different thoughts about that. One is that when we die, when we not die, but when we let go of the body, the covering of our spirit, that we go, like in traditional religion, they say you go to heaven, hell, or whatever. And in the Eastern tradition, they talk about going to the astral world. And the astral world is like heaven. Everything is similar to Earth. It's beautiful, but we still have work to do there. And we still have development of our souls until we're one with Source. And so people in the astral world, depending on their karma and their past lives, they can stay there or they can choose to come back and work out some more things on the Earth level. Earth level is a very hard school. It's very dense here. It's very difficult here. It's full of challenges and problems. So it's a great school to learn things. And so people can choose to come back. There's also those highly evolved souls, I think, who come back to help the planet. And they choose to come back. I think this woman was one of those high souls. And I think that she had been, well, I had a question for her and I haven't got the answer clear because I've talked to her since, but she also channels. And I wondered, I think I put this in my book, I wondered if she was channeling information from that planet or if she had actually lived there. And I don't know the answer to that. She felt that she lived there, but she was open to the idea that maybe she accessed it, through her inner spirit.
That's
So,
a great
yeah,
question.
What's that?
That's a great question. Since she has those skills, And I know Smita and I both work with people who have various skills. So when are they slipping into those skills, or when are they remembering a past life?
Well, this is the only one that I question that.
Mm.
So generally, it's pretty clear to me that a person is in a past life. But this woman, she's a highly evolved soul, and she does a lot of spiritual work and different things. She does readings for people and helps people.
Great question. Thank you. Does anyone else have a question that they would like? Yes, Smita.
Thank you, Carol. Elaine, my question is about if you've ever had anyone else since that particular regression who is a soul from another planetary or star system. Have you had any more experience in your regressions of meeting such souls?
Of other people that came from a different planet, just this one woman. But recently, I have a woman friend who's very much into UFOs, and she believes that it would be good for me to open up more to that energy, so that if someone wants to come remember a life on a different planet, I'd be open to that more. I'm not close to it. It's just that it would surprise me when it happened. And usually I'm more into a psychological mode, of what is your issue? Let's kind of go to a life that will help with that. But I'm open to whatever spirit brings in. But no, that's the only one that I.
Okay. And the other thing was about an animal birth. So I'm from India, and we do believe that there isn't a hierarchy. Sometimes a soul that can reincarnate as a human would take an animal birth to learn a particular skill, like how to be more loving, or how to be in a family. So they might choose to take birth as an elephant, because elephants are also highly realized souls, and they move in groups, and they are deeply connected to their group members. And they also when one member dies, everybody mourns together among elephants. So so sometimes certain human beings will take birth as an elephant to learn how to be together in a group. So that's what I grew up kind of understanding. So just wanted to share that.
Well, thank you. That's helpful.
Okay, so I think
Judy has a question.
Oh, Judy, yeah, where are you,
So
Judy?
does John. Okay, they're raising their hands.
Yeah. Hi. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Smita, because I kind of think, and I'm more open to thinking that why can't we come back as whatever we want to come back as? Why do we have to choose to be a human again? I guess I'm exploring and changing my way of thinking, and I have cats, and I have one cat that I feel very connected to, that I've had other lives with. And I have another cat that lives with my sister, and he and I do astral travels together. So, and he does shape shifting. So I think, and I feel that animals can be humans and humans can be animals. So I guess I feel that that's an opening that I'd like to know that more people want to explore. And if that's a possibility, that's can happen. So,
Okay.
Thank
Is that
you.
a question?
yeah. If you think
Judy?
that something can be if that's something that can be explored.
Well, if people are drawn to that, yes, if they want to go into it. I think I made a statement before that it's just my belief that on a human level, there's a different consciousness level, a higher consciousness level. Animals are more instinctual. We have a lot to learn from their behavior. I totally agree. But I think they're more instinctual, and that the human evolution gives us a chance to reach higher consciousness levels. But maybe, you can say, okay, animals have a certain consciousness level too, but I think humans have a different ability in that area. But that's just my belief. Okay. But I think, if it interests you, definitely, explore it, I would say. Okay. John has a question.
I do. I got to take this. I'm hearing myself in my ear. I loved your book, and I particularly like the way you relate working with people with issues going back into past lives. And that was a big takeaway I got from it. And I've done a bunch of my own work. I've got a question, though. You seemed, when you're talking about somebody being in a past life, I question whether my experiences were me imagining them or were they past lives. They seemed very vivid at the time, but the ones I did were accessed through hypnotic regression usually. And I know there's this thing called false memory syndrome. What if I made it all up?
Well, John, I don't know if you were in when I commented on.
How do you know, from your point of view?
Yeah,
and does it matter? I suppose. I think it matters.
Well,
I'd like to hear what you think.
Okay. I had commented earlier, maybe you weren't in then, but that some of the theories of what's going on with past life is that it could be the imagination, that some people feel that. And as a therapist, I just say, I encourage that, because I believe when we turn the session over to a higher source, and it's being guided through that source, that the imagination can come up with a life, with a story that's going to help us. So I don't have any difficulty where it's coming from. I tend to lean towards the belief that it's actually a life because of my own work on, my own regressions, and I've done hundreds and hundreds of regressions. And so, you can sense some energy around that, how deeply the person is within,
right.
But I think everything can be used to help a person grow and expand. So I tend to lean on it. It really doesn't make any difference. I mean, how do you prove anything? How do you prove there's life after death? How do we prove anything? It's, it's based on faith, or a belief in a certain way.
Yeah, my sense is these experiences that I've had were real, but I don't try to convince others necessarily. It sounds like you don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
So,
No. I just leave it wide open. And I often get people who say, after it's over, was that my imagination?
Right.
And I say, well, what did you learn from that? I always ask that question anyway.
Now, also, Elaine, you don't do hypnosis to access these past lives, I don't think. You do something else?
I'm a hypnotherapist. Yeah,
you
I
actually
use
do.
symbols, which we're going to do
Symbols.
now. Yeah, we're going to do a symbol session with 8 people because there's more than 8 online, but it would take us too long to do with everybody. So
Great
you'll
segue.
see.
Sorry, great segue into going into the exercise. So I'm going to see if I can get the people. I'm gonna the first 8 people that signed in, those will be the ones who will be doing the exercise. And so just trying to get those people in to the mix. Judy. Yep. Okay. All right. So we're getting there. Smita. Carol Urick. Kimberly. How many have I got there now? Let's see.
I don't know. I can't see what you're doing.
You're not able to see it, or do you have your view on gallery?
No, what I suggest, Carol, is you just give me 8 names,
Okay.
and then I'll call them.
Marilyn. Okay, so Peg.
What's the first one?
The first one is Peg, and the second
Okay.
one would be Marilyn. Oh, it is
All right.
Marilyn. Is Marilyn still there?
Marilyn?
I'm not seeing her.
I think she must be gone then.
Yeah, she might.
Okay.
All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, I'm going to add Pam.
Peg, Pam, just give me the 8 names, please.
Okay. Let's see, all right. All right, so the first, so we said Marilyn's gone, right? All
Yeah,
right,
mhm.
first person will be Peg, and the second person will be Judy. So you want me to give you the
Judy.
2 people one at a time?
Yeah, just give me the names of the 8 people. Peg, Judy,
Jim,
Jim.
and then Kimberly,
All right.
Smita, Smita.
Okay.
Oh, now I have 2 Carols, Carol Clancy and Carol Urick.
Carol K. Is it C or K?
C.
Okay. Carol C. And then Carol what?
Y Urick.
Okay. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more.
And Pam.
Pam. Okay. Okay. Can all those people whose names have been called, can you hear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Peg, can you hear, hon? Peg. Peg.
She's on mute. Can you unmute yourself, Peg?
Yes.
Okay, and Kimberly, are you
So Peg,
able to hear okay?
Yes.
Okay, if everyone else will be muted, but those 8 people. All
okay,
right.
let me just double check. Peg, Peg, you need to remember the name Judy, because she's going to be following you.
Okay.
Judy, are you on?
Yes.
Can you remember Jim?
Yes.
Okay. Jim, are you on?
Yes.
And you can remember Kimberly?
Yep.
Okay, Kimberly, you're on, right?
Yes.
And you'll be calling Smita
Okay.
after you're finished. I'll help you see how we're doing this. And Carol C.
Yes.
You're going to be calling Carol Y.
Okay.
Carol Y, are you on?
Yes.
And you'll be calling Pam. Okay, you just got to remember the names behind you. Pam, you're on, right?
So Elaine, who am I
Pam.
calling? Am I calling on Carol?
Carol
We're
Clancy.
calling
Okay.
Carol C.
Okay.
I don't think Pam, is Pam on?
Yeah, she's on, and Pam will have Peg.
No, I'm going to be in the mix too
Oh, okay.
on here. So I'll start. Elaine, then Peg. Okay, so Pam will call Elaine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 9. That's what I wanted. Okay.
And then you will
Okay.
be, okay. All right, let's do it.
Okay. So the reason I'm introducing everybody to symbols is that this is the way I get people relaxed and inward. And remember, symbols from the Jungian perspective is going into the right brain. So the important thing is for us to all relax. And those who are not part of the symbol session, just relax and breathe and listen to what's going on. So let's start, all of us. Oh, and I want to say about the symbols, there's no right or wrong way to do this. A symbol is whatever's on your mind when it's your turn. And your turn will be when the person calls your name. That's why we want to have people's names. So I'll start and then I'll say Peg when I'm finished. And then Peg will say whatever's on her mind. It can be a thought. It can be a word. It can be a picture you see in your mind's eye. It could be a feeling you're having. It could be, I'm hungry, I haven't eaten dinner yet. It can be anything. It's whatever you're aware of when it's your turn. Whatever you're aware of. And remember, there's absolutely no right or wrong way to do this. It's kind of like free association, you know? You just say what, when your name's called, just say whatever you're thinking or feeling or whatever's coming up inside, okay? Any questions about that? Yeah. Yes, Judy?
Then after we say what we say, then do we say the person's name?
That's correct.
Okay,
You want to let them know you're finished.
okay,
Sometimes symbols go on a little bit. People can talk for, 20
okay.
seconds, 30 seconds, whatever. So yeah,
Okay.
you call the name to let them know you're finished. So we're going to do a couple of rounds of symbols to relax. But before we start, let's have everybody relax. Okay, so let's close our eyes. And let's just focus in on our breathing. And just follow as we inhale and exhale. And as you follow your breath, pay attention to your body. Do you feel any tightness in your shoulders or neck or back or any part of your body? Just tighten that muscle group up and then relax it. Relax your body. Focus in on your breathing. Okay, now we're going to inhale to the count of 7, hold, count of 7, and then exhale through our mouth to the count of 7. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hold, 1, 2. Exhale. Again, inhale to the count of 7, hold for 7, and then exhale. And do it one more time. And relax your body. And keep focused on your breath if you're not part of the symbol session. Okay, we're going to start and do the symbol session. And from the symbol session, I will take us right into a regression. So everyone will be participating at that point. Okay, so we turn this session over to Source and for the highest good of all of those here present and for the universe. We call in our helpers and guides, saints and sages. So I'll start. I'm seeing a bright orange ball that's shooting out rays. It's not, it's kind of like the sun, but it's orange. Peg,
Yes.
just report whatever you're getting, whatever
Yeah.
you're thinking or feeling.
I'm seeing across the water and a mountain. And I'm sitting on my deck. And I'm looking for my cat. And Judy,
I'm on the green grass with a nice bright white sky. Jim,
I see an aluminum ladder leaning up against the side of a building. Kimberly,
I'm looking at the moon and I can see all the stars all around us. Smita?
I'm seeing myself floating in the big universe with beautiful wings. I'm looking at all the stars. It's really lovely. Carol, C.
Feel in the ocean and the waves are crashing around me. Carol, why?
I'm seeing the sun is very large and orange, and I'm sitting on a tropical island with lots of peace and serenity. Tam?
I'm on a Spanish galleon in the ocean, and there's big white sails billowing out, and we're moving forward quickly. Elaine.
Well, I am very blessed to live off the grid, up high on a mountain in the forest. And I have a spa or jacuzzi outside. And I tend to sit in that spa every evening and meditate. And I have an awesome view of the stars and the moon and all the trees, outlines of the trees. And so I'm just seeing myself sitting in my spa, giving thanks to the Creator for the beauty of this earth. Peg?
I'm feeling cold and looking forward to a warm water and bright sunshine. Judy?
my luminous body has floated up into the atmosphere. And I'm just floating. Jim.
I'm seeing like I would call it a meadow, but it's up high on a mountain. It's kind of, it's not really steep. It's kind of a little bit of raise in elevation, but not a lot. And there are flowers and grasses there in a sunny day. Kimberly.
I am surrounded by dogs, all different sizes and shapes. It's all white and they're all very gentle and sweet and kind. Smita.
I'm continuing to float through the universe, moving through galaxies, meeting some loved ones who are similarly floating, people with wings, and high-fiving them. It's really wonderful. Carol Clancy.
I'm seeing my dog from the past, a lab mix that loved to swim and roll in mud. And Carol, why?
I'm sitting by the ocean with my dog on my lap, watching the waves splash in very calmly. Tam.
I'm in a alpine meadow. I'm part of a herd of deer that are grazing, and on the wind, we smell wood smoke from a nearby cabin. Elaine.
Okay, continue to relax, everybody. And now I want you to look down at your feet and see what you're wearing on your feet. And now look at your whole body and see what kind of clothes you have on. And see if you can get your name. What is your name? Now look around you and see who's around you. What is your living environment like? Who's there? Where are you? Now something important happens in this life, a significant event. I want you to go to that significant event and see what's going on. Okay, now move away from that event and move on in this life and go to the next important event. Something else is important is happening. Move ahead. Okay, close that out and let go and just relax, and let's move ahead again in this life to another important event and see what comes up for you. Now I want you to move ahead, leave that event, and I want you to go up to the time you're getting ready to pass over from this life. And I want you to go and be on the other side and look back and see how you died. Okay, now stay on the other side in spirit world. And I'm going to ask some questions and listen to see what you get. What did I learn in that life? Okay, let that go. And again, I'm going to ask again, what did I learn in that life? Okay, let it move away from that. And that's this time, ask our angels and guides and saints and sages to help us. Ask them, what did I learn in that life? Okay, we're going to move on now. I'm going to ask another question. How does this life relate to my life now? Okay, again, how does this life relate to now? And let go of that. And again, let's ask any of your guides or helpers, angels, saints, sages, and ask them to help. How does this life relate to now? Okay, so let's close that down. And one more question. What other people that appeared in that life, I'm going to ask you, any of those people, who do I know in this life that I knew in that life? Okay, so finish up what you're doing. And we give thanks for this work today. And when you're ready, come back and open your eyes when you're ready. So if anybody wants to share what they got or what they didn't get, or any questions or comments, the floor is open.
Okay. What I got was probably too weird to talk about. I found myself caveman type thing. My feet they had animal sandals, and I was coarse and angry. Now, this is what I got, and again, I don't know where it came from. If it was true, it was the first time extraterrestrials made a deal with an Earth person, because suddenly I go out of my hut, I feel threatened, and there are these people from another planet. They make a deal with me that they're going to help humanity to evolve, and I'm one of the lucky ones. And they do a little bit of surgery, and suddenly I'm king of this group. And but I have an arch enemy. and the arch enemy is from another extraterrestrial group who is attacking me. And in this life, it's my father, who I've had a few issues with. And it seems too formidable to defeat him. So instead, I don't want to surrender. I recognize that whatever I do has karmic implications for me. I don't want to surrender, but I don't want to fight. So I merely resist. And the force that allowed me to resist was the love of my people that I had been, a decent leader for. Anyway, for what that's worth.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. How does that relate to now? It's Jim, right? Jim?
John.
Do I have?
Yeah, how that relates to
John, I'm
now
sorry,
is
John.
there are certain issues that I deal with that rather than conquer them or surrender to them, there's some things that I'm better having a truce and using those resources I have that are positive to support that. My mantra could be build a wall, right? Build a wall.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
I can go.
Okay.
I was actually barefoot and we lived in huts. My first vision was of, I was assuming my father being his burial ceremony. He was being burned. I guess that was part of the ceremony for that religion of what I was at that time. And then the second part was I was mated with a gentleman. I don't think we were really married, if that was a ceremony at that point, but we were mated. And then the next thing, he died. And then in my death, I died peacefully at an old age. And I just learned that I had strength to make it through anything. And it kind of relates to now that I have to have strength to make it through what we live in today. And I didn't relate to anyone in that life that I know today that I can think of. But I just know that I just have to have strength. That's what I got from that.
That's a good lesson, isn't it?
Very good.
And also to realize that you had that strength in that life and you still have that strength in this life.
Yes.
That you've experienced a life in which you had to be strong and you're being challenged same again.
Yes.
So that's the work, maybe we can say, to be strong.
Yes.
And to endure whatever comes up.
Very
Does that
much.
make sense?
Very much so. Yes. The lessons keep coming.
Yeah, don't they? Well, we're in Earth School.
Yes.
We're here to.
Yes.
We're here. I work with my clients, and some don't understand this, what they were in Earth School, and it's like they're so weighted down by their problem, and oftentimes feeling victimized. And to get the understanding that we signed up for this school.
Yes.
And that we're here to work through. Life is, to me, ups and downs, like a roller coaster.
Yes.
It's a good day, it's a bad day, it's a challenging day, it's an easy day. It
Yeah.
just goes on and on. And to go with that and hold the center through all of it,
Mm-hmm.
and realize it's going to change, because it
Yeah.
always changes.
Yes.
And for me, a big question I try to always ask is, what am I supposed to be learning in this life?
Yes.
So when a challenge comes up, it's, what am I supposed to be learning from this?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I always ask that question with regressions, because I think it's important to see what the learning is, the lessons are from life to life, because we have so many. But a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times the same theme is running through many of our lives, because maybe we didn't get it right the first time,
Yeah.
and maybe we're in karma,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
so I think it's important. I know for me I was raised, well, I wrote another book. The first book was Stepping Outside the Secrets, and it's a memoir. And I was raised in an alcoholic, abusive, dysfunctional home.
Mm.
And, and my father was one of my abusers. And for years, I carried anger around that. And once I understood that this concept of what I'm talking about, that I'm in this school, that my father and I agreed to come back and do this dance together in
Mm-hmm.
my mind, and that he played his part perfectly as the bad guy, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And once I could see that this was all for my learning and I made that choice, it freed me. It freed me, because there's no one you can't be a victim if you own the fact that we've chosen to go through these experiences. You can't be a victim. And I think it's so important for our spiritual growth to not be in victim mentality in any way.
Yes.
And once I realized that, like, whoa, thank you, Dad, you did your part great. And these are actually his abuse in the early years drove me into psychology, because I wanted to understand what was going on with him. I didn't understand alcoholism very well at that time. And it drove me into psychology. And at a very early age, it drove me into my religion and spirituality, religion at that time, because I was looking for comfort. So put me on a spiritual, psychological path, which created the transpersonal psychologist I am today. So I can really very much see the whole picture and give thanks for all that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all, it's all good. It's all good. It's all for learning.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Does anyone else want to share? Maybe you didn't get anything or had some blocks, or maybe someone else has another experience to share, like past life.
Oh, I'm happy to share that I had recently seen a past life, and so a snippet of that life came back. And soon after that, I had a bout of coughing, and I heard my guide say, "We are reminding you that you didn't feel empowered to speak your truth then, so make sure that you do it now in this lifetime."
That's so great. Yeah. Are you doing that? Are you doing that? Are you speaking your truth?
It's been very tough, but yeah, I think I am speaking it more and more, getting louder.
Well, you know what I'm aware of? What is your first name?
My
What is your
first name,
first name? Yeah,
Smita.
Smith. Yeah. I was aware of you doing that with your question to me, that you were sharing from your Indian background and how you perceive, the switch over to different lives, that you was sort of like, not challenging, but just a different perspective that you were raising. And I thought, wow, good for her. that she can bring up something that has a differing viewpoint. So I just want to applaud you because you did it right here today in our session. Thank you for that. That's a lesson for all of us. Speak your truth. I so believe in that, to speak your truth. And gosh, I'm wondering if someone went to a life as a dog, because my dog is now starting to bark in the background. Someone went to an animal life. I don't know. I got a very special dog that I'm sure is going to be a human next time. She's been with me before, and she's very, very wise, very evolved, I think. But anyway, well, thank you for sharing that, Smitha. And blessings to you. I don't know what kind of work you do, but I hope you're in this profession of helping others spiritually in some ways.
I am actually, I am helping Carol with the next reincarnation symposium happening right here in San Jose.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Thank you for your service. Okay, anyone else? We got just a few minutes left here. We got time for more sharing if we need it.
Jim has his hand up. Go ahead and unmute, Jim.
Okay, all right. Well, today was the second time I've had a past life regression ever. And the first was about a week ago or so with Carol Louie. She helped me to have a past life regression. And so taking the confidence from that experience, I was able to have a regression here in this group, and that I was had a lifetime in Spain back in the, I don't know, 1600, something like that. And I was in the service, and my initial big thing that happened in my life was like a confirmation in the Catholic Church. You have a confirmation. And then the second major thing I had was leaving home and going off to make my way. And the third was that I was in the military and in a large group of people. Wasn't any fighting or anything. I was just day-to-day life in the military. And I really liked it, and I'm not a group person in this lifetime. Everything that I've done has been on my own. But in that lifetime, I was in this big group. I really liked it. I really loved the fact that I could trust my co-military people. And it just, I didn't, those were basically the main things I got out of it. And that's just, it just makes me, wonder whether I can be more trusting of others in this lifetime, and that maybe I'm going to be part of a group of people like this group here, and that I can trust. Yeah. So it hasn't been something. Yeah.
What's that?
No, it hasn't been something that I've been able to do very much in this lifetime. Is trust others, especially groups, and but I'm feeling like I'm getting into it now, and that's a good feeling. So.
Good. Well, I had a couple thoughts. Okay, Jim. One is that this is a group you're already in, and this is a spiritual group that can feed you. And I think it's a very, there's a lot of groups we can be in. We can be in the hiking club. We can go to the gym and have gym memberships and whatever. But to be in a spiritual community of any kind, what a blessing. What a blessing.
Yes.
The other thought I have is you might not need a lot of that in this life because you had a lot of that in that life, and that this life might be one in which the emphasis on being more solitary, and that there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
So it just might be the balancing, that we have lives. We're married, we're single, we're man, we're woman, we're gay, we're straight, we're anything. We just have all these different life experiences, And the fact that you had that, if there's a part of you that maybe is missing fellowship or connection, then that part can be served through this group, it seems like. And so you have that. And that brings you right out. You know, I'm in isolation big time. You can't even get to my place. It's not on the, what do you call it? GPS or whatever. You can't find me. I'm down a forest road. It's gated, it's locked. It's, you know, and so I spend a lot of time, you know, writing and meditating and working. And I love it. I love it. I'm very blessed. But I also have a need. You know, I am in a spiritual community. I have a need to connect on some level. But nowadays we can do it through the internet, through the phone. You know, there's a lot of ways. So anyway, thank you for sharing that, because I think it's, you know, that you were open about that, and hopefully got something from that life to see that you've had that. You can do it if you want. It's okay to have some balance and not be doing it, you know, so strongly in this life if you don't want. Does that make sense?
It sure does. Thank you. Thank you for your help.
Oh,
Maddie,
sure.
did you
I'm
have
glad to
a
share.
share? Yeah.
Who?
Maddie?
Yes, thank you. Hi. So I'm like Smita. I'm working in this life on speaking my truth. So I wanted to tell you about where I went. Okay, so my last life was in the mountains in Virginia. And I was walking down the road in that last life. And I do know a few of the people from that life, including my at the time was my sister, what was my childhood grandmother. But my lesson is a very interesting one, which is what kept coming up is I'm looking for family now, and family is everything to me.
Oh,
yeah. And I need to go and see that particular place. But I wanted to talk a little bit about animals. I'm an animal communicator, and honestly, I see very little difference between people and animals in terms of anything, really. My current dog was sent to me by a previous dog, and I have like zero wonder about whether he's gonna be a person in his next incarnation. He totally identifies with me and with us. He loves everyone. He is the most loving being I've ever seen.
that's wonderful. What a blessing for you. What a blessing. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Well, I have to share something about animals. I have 2 cats, and I got a golden retriever puppy who's kind of high strung, high energy. She's just got lots of energy, but she's a puppy. And so when I go, I have a special little room, one of my bedrooms for my meditation room. And when I go in there, she comes in and lays down on the floor for an hour and doesn't move. The cats climb onto my lap and insist upon sitting on my lap through the meditation. And all of them are quiet for an hour or whatever time I meditate. And I find that amazing, but I'm not, yes and no. No is when we create a sacred space, I have sacred items in my space, and there's an energy there that signals the brain that something different goes on in this room. So I'm always encouraging my clients to create a special place, and, you know, with candles, whatever speaks to you. And when my animals come in, they pick up the energy. And I find it, because the dog is just always, you know, running around acting like a little crazy puppy. So that's pretty interesting, huh?
Yes.
That happens, but they're very intuitive, as we all know. Okay, thank you,
Thank
Virginia. Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Go ahead. Anyone else want to share before we close down? I think, Carol,
Yeah,
you have to.
Pete, Peter,
Yes. Forgive me if I'm intruding. Could I ask you a question about, I have a question about my regressions. When I've done it
Sure.
4 times, I never get a message like, this is what this life is for. I swear, I think I move into lives because I want to aesthetically enjoy the experience. I mean, the last thing I remember was being in New York City, and I'm absolutely I was always in love with New York City, the buildings, the shoes, the cars, and that was all there was. It was just really fun to do that.
Okay, let me ask you something.
Yes.
I believe that we're allowed to experience many different lives for many different reasons. The question I have now is, how much fun is in your life now?
Mm. Oh,
you don't have to answer that.
Oh, well,
you don't have to answer that. Okay. So maybe you're on a roll here, Peter, that the lives that you're going to visit are going to reinforce the fact that there's very many happy lives. You know, I was led through happy lives. I was led through traumatic lives. I was led through, you know, really challenging lives. I was led through lives as a priest, as, you know, a Buddhist, Tibetan monk, you know. So I think that, you know, everything's perfect. So wherever you went, you know, you maybe need to keep that, bringing that joy and the joy of other lives into your life now. But that's, I don't know, but that's, go ahead.
I'm absolutely certain that I go to places where I can get close to books. Every time. I still do it. I mean, before there was the internet, I hitchhiked 100 miles to go to a library. And every lifetime I'm around things like that. And I had one really unpleasant. So it's not all pretty. The one was just terrifying.
Oh, okay. So you love books and you like to be around them and read them. Is that what you're saying? Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You must get a lot.
I seem to do it. It's like a theme all throughout. That was in all the things I remember.
Well, you know, there's 4 types of yoga, and one is knowledge, one is meditation, one is service, and one is devotion or meditation. And so for you, maybe your path involves the path of knowledge, you know, like needing to read books to be, you know, informed. And I don't know, I'm just throwing that out to you, to something to think about.
Okay, I was just going to ask you, you have a lot of experience. I'm very interested to hear what you have to say.
Well, I will say this, that I have to struggle with being a left brain person. I've worked really hard on getting into my right brain. And I remember all my life I've been searching for the truth. Mm-hmm. You know, and I've studied all the main religions, and searching for the truth. And I remember went to dinner with a friend, and her guru was there. And I was so happy, like, oh my gosh, I'll be able to pump this guy with all kinds of questions. And we were eating dinner. I didn't let the poor man even hardly eat. I just had one question after the other. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? What do you think of this? And he started laughing finally, and he said, you really have a need to know, don't you? And I said, yeah, I certainly do. And he said, well, that's one of the hardest yoga paths, coming from our minds and needing to know. And that the easiest path is, well, devotion, love, and service is important. And so he kind of knocked me a little bit off of that track, because I realized that I was never going to get all the answers I was hungry for in this life, and that maybe the path of yoga, path of knowledge is a hard one. I'm just sharing that with you because that was my experience. And it's pushed me more into the devotional path.
I understand.
Yeah. You know what, just so I know we have to close soon probably, but also just so you know, I am online. I'm online where Carol should know, but it's oh shoot. It's the name of my book, Past Lives Present Problems @gmail.com. So it's Past Lives Present Problems @gmail.com. And I am available to communicate with anybody. You know, I'm here to serve and be helpful in any way I can. So anybody that has any other questions can go find that. If you haven't read the book, I encourage you to do so. There's a lot of good stories in it. Okay, thank you. Anyone else before we close down?
I just want to commend you on asking the same question more than once. I forget to do that sometimes. And every time you did it, it really triggered something else. And then either the last time, the third or the last time that you said it, and then you said something about with your guides, your angels, and and you asked the question again. And that's really did take it to another level for me. And I'll just share with you on the last time that you said, how does this experience relate to you now? And, with the help of your guides and angels. And this is something that I was talking with a couple of people about just recently. The theme was, you are God's stories. We're all God's stories.
That's lovely. That's so lovely. It's so true. So true.
I'm
So
learning this
lovely.
more and more, and I just love it. And and the other thing that I'm getting about it is that it's a never-ending story.
Yeah,
So,
it is a never-ending story.
Yeah.
Once I went out, once I went out of my body in a sweat lodge. It was one of the most peak spiritual experiences I've ever had. And it's in the stories in my first book, Stepping Outside the Secrets. And I traveled in outer space and just went on and on and on. And just that feeling that it's never ending is what I'm trying to comment on, because it was.
Yeah.
And, it's hard. I think we all are sort of, I don't know, I should speak for myself. I'm sort of, task oriented. I want to finish something. I want to, like, as a Catholic, was pretty comfortable, live one life and go to heaven and be with God. Of course, I don't believe that way anymore. I believe we have to evolve to those places. But, that's very comforting to think it's going to be over. I know one thing, I sure wouldn't like to have too many more human lives. I think it's a very hard place to be. I'm sure other people agree with that. But anyway, I'm totally open to any more questions or, communication over the internet or anything else like that. And I'm so grateful. This, solstice is important to me. And today is solstice. It's the day of the most light. And, all the light beings that came today to be part of this, thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel that energy and that light that was with us. And I'm very blessed and uplifted. Thank you, Carol, for making this available.
Thank you for joining us for the book club. This was so much fun. I did not know what to expect with the symbols. I really enjoyed it a lot. And it was amazing how it just took us into a whole nother place. So,
yeah, and we didn't do it very long either. We only did 2 rounds. Normally, I would do it for like longer time, but I was aware of our time limit. But even just that 2 rounds, you can see how it kind of drops you in a little. And the other thing is when I do an individual regression, it's much easier because I can stay with the person. And my teacher, she would find out who your guides were before you started. And then she would use those guides asking those questions, or she would use Christ or Buddha or, whomever came up in her mind. And I did find that helpful too. It opened the door when you bring your guides and helpers in to ask those questions. And it's important to do it more than once, is what I found. So it's when I'm with an individual, I can, gear that better than group when you have to just give open time and guessing how much time people need. Anyway, it's been a great experience. I'm very grateful. A wonderful solstice gift.
Yes, happy solstice to everybody, and do check out Elaine's book. It's an easy read. It will just soothe your soul.